Welcome on today's episode of Growth's Edge. For those just joining the podcast, I'm Chris, founder of Aulio AI, and we partner with ambitious businesses to accelerate growth using AI automation. So if you want to learn how to take your business to the next level, make sure you stick around. And if you're interested in a free growth plan, drop the word growth in the DMs. Today, we have two guests on the podcast. It's Jonah and Jeremiah, who are co founders of the Cash Compound. These guys are doing incredible work, helping people take control of their money, leveraging banking strategies, and build financial freedom. Jonah and Jeremiah, do you want to both go ahead and share about a bit about your individual backgrounds and how you came to start the Cash Compound?
Thanks, Chris. So happy to be here on the edge with you. And when you say backgrounds, well, I mean, we do come from the actual same family. So we're going to have to start it maybe as like adults because, yeah, we are real life brothers. And on social, often our moniker and our handle is at the banking bros.
Yes, I
So
did
we are
notice.
helping people with the idea of infinite banking and cash values, utilizing them for financing strategies and investment strategies. But in real life, we're brothers. But I'll start my story as I'm finishing college. I have a mass communication degree. So our financial background starts as adults. Growing up, the phrase was, we can't afford it. So that's all we ever talked about. It wasn't something passed down from our family members to us in the realm of what we're doing now and how we help people gain financial freedom. But as a graduating senior, I'm leaving university and I realized that I'm in debt. Like I didn't think about it while I was in school.
Yeah.
And so I've got 5 figures of debt, which is a low 5 figure number for most people's standards. I did go to private school, but I realized that I needed a new method, a new methodology. And fast forward into the business world, I learned that a JOB must stand for just over broke. Because they had me coming back on Monday. I ran out of money over the course of the weekend. So then I got into the entrepreneurial world, and that entrepreneurial world really was the eye-opening moment. Now, instead of one job, I've got 100 bosses, right? I'm trying to have clients. I'm trying to do bookkeeping. I'm trying to hire. I'm trying to figure out how to do marketing. And that was the beginning stages into realizing that there were some different systems out there, not just haves and have nots, but different systems that I could have been following to get me to where I really wanted to go.
Yeah, I'll jump in now if that's all right. So I'm the younger brother. I was going to say the little brother, but I've got him by a few inches and a few pounds, to be honest with you. But my kind of financial prowess actually and entrepreneurship started after school also. So very similar story growing up. I can definitely remember older brother and parents like listening to some of the financial entertainers out there, listening to the radio shows and reading the books and attending maybe a conference or two. But because I was younger at the time, it really didn't apply to me, kind of just in one ear and out the other over the head type of thing. So right out of school, I went and got a job at a bank, actually. I was working at a banking institution that we have in our town here in the States. And that was actually really eye-opening for me for a few reasons. I was mentioning to somebody actually recently who asked about it. At that place of employment, I was able to get access to lots of people's bank accounts. As simple as that was actually really educational. I started to realize where people spent their money. I can remember even one point telling you, right? I was like, why does everyone spend $3.21 at Dunkin' Donuts? I can't figure it out, but it's so many people. It's got to be 80% of the customers. I see this transaction. And that was not something that I used to spend money on, or, we just didn't grow up with very much. So a luxury like a daily coffee or something like that that wasn't in our wheelhouse. So when you're an adult now and you're seeing it on everybody's transaction, right, you start to realize what in the world's going on, and what is it that good? Does America really run on Dunkin'? I have no idea what's happening. Well, after a few years of being at the bank, I decided to give that up. Really wasn't for me. I didn't love it. And so I wanted to transition into insurance. So I started for a reputable company down here, started selling home and auto insurance. And I like that a lot better than banking, but still not really my calling. But in home and auto insurance, I got another perspective in the financial kind of industry, in the financial world, right? I started to see what people value and how much people pay for insurance, and then the claims aspect. Anyway, I started to see a lot of that. And at some point, a lot of my colleagues were leaving kind of home and auto, and they wanted to jump over to life insurance. And I thought to myself, you know what? I do like insurance, and I like insurance a lot better than banking. And so I might want to jump into life insurance. And it was just about that time where we both were introduced to what we do now full time. We were both introduced to this idea of purchasing life insurance products, the right ones, that's important, that can actually provide the basis for guaranteed lifetime income, for cash flow and growth. And so that was really kind of the eye-opening, the spark moment where I was like, are you kidding me? This whole time, maybe even a product as easy and simple that everybody knows, like insurance, can be used if you've got the goggles on where you can see it from a different perspective, can be used to actually accomplish something as helpful and beneficial as cash flow, as income, as guarantees. And so that's a little bit of my background also before we jumped into the space of working together and starting our own business.
That's really interesting. It's quite insightful that it's almost like it's like funneled you both into this position where you are now. It's almost like it was meant to be, correct?
Right.
Hey, maybe that's what it was this whole time. And we all we do is fight and argue in the office all day, but you're sitting here saying, meant to
Well,
be. Okay.
what I got from both of your stories, it just seems like you've had this energy just channeled into one, and it just seems like it's going into the right direction for you both.
Appreciate you
Yeah.
noticing that. Yeah, we do need to reflect on those things and those paths a little more often, I think.
Yeah, I believe everyone has their ups and downs, don't they, at the end of the day? But it does seem like you both are making it work. So with am I right to say, is it the Cash Compound or the Banking Bros? Am I like targeting right now?
It's both. It's
It's
both.
both. This is
It's
this
still
is
us.
why
Yeah.
I get
So
quite confused. So should we go with the Banking Bros? It's more fitted for
sure,
our
that's
Sure.
right.
So who originally came up with the idea to like join together?
I think a lot of our vision came from me, but Jonah's in the practical nuts and bolts and day to day. Well, how do we do that and what do we do next? So, me being the older brother and being an entrepreneur first, I think a lot of the ideas to start this system that we call it, this system of helping people get from where they are to where they want to go, was kind of my idea and vision. Jonah really was comfortable in doing some of his business ideas from a standpoint of being employed. I was not. So I had been unemployable for a couple of years, and maybe it was desperation. And I thought to myself, I really don't know what I'm doing in business. I'm really not getting everywhere I want to go. And at this point, like my resume is getting slim because I haven't had a job in a while. So maybe it was me forcing him to join forces, but we did have a third party mentorship that we opted into without that mentor knowing several years ago. So we started practicing what is called the infinite banking concept in the US and Canada. And the man who was helping people get started with that, we adopted him as a mentor, kind of without him knowing it. So that was how we learned how to do this business in particular. He's very prolific, very good at what he did. And he was nice. He was helpful to us. So we kind of piggybacked on some of the things that he was doing in the early years.
You gained knowledge from him, but it's not sneaky, is it? You just gained knowledge from him and the insights to go forward, and look where it's got you now. It's you've got knowledge to share with other people, and you're educating other people, aren't you? Correct?
Yep, we sure are. Yeah, I was going to even say to your last point in question, there was even some big steps that happened in there. So maybe the end of the year 2017, this mentor that we adopted kind of said to us that he was going to step out on his own and kind of do his own thing, and was interested in if we wanted to come along, basically, do you want to work with me and for me? And at that moment, I was employed. I was still working for the auto and property insurance company here in the States and still doing that. And so there was big jumps and big leaps. I mean, I took that job with the mentor. I think at this point I'm married less than a year. I've got a baby on the way, due relatively soon, or maybe I was married over a year, but the baby was due. And I don't know this new business and I don't know this gentleman super well, but I believe in what he does. And so, yeah, you know what, I'll jump ship from what I'm doing and work with you and for you. And so there were some big moments and big steps along the way, but it all, like you mentioned in the last comment you made, it all just kind of funneled us toward what we're doing now. So it was, yeah, I think it was provisional, right? That's the key here.
With that, or did you find it challenging understanding the system, or did it kind of like flow naturally with the insights that you already have learned through your careers?
The business aspect is what was harder to pick up, and it still is evolving and moving. You know, you're in the space of AI, right? Things change and they move faster and faster. Learning the infinite banking concept took us long enough. Learning business, I think we're still trying.
That's an everyday lesson in itself, isn't it? Learning
Right.
business.
Yeah,
Things
I
change
will.
every day.
Yeah, I tell people now the same thing I'd tell them a decade ago, really, when we were getting going, is that, right? Think about any business, if you like, a plumber, right? If you want to start your own plumbing thing and you're working for another plumbing company, you know the plumbing stuff. That's what you like, and that's what you want to do. What you don't know is all the other things, right? You don't know how to hire, you don't know how to bookkeep, you don't know good accountants, you don't know good management systems, you don't know. That's all the stuff that was really kind of tough to get without some prior training, or like having it passed down, or having a good mentor in the space, or having another system you can copy. That's the stuff that kind of took a long time. The product that you provide, in our case, helping families actually talk about what they want to do financially moving forward, how to provide guaranteed income for their life. Well, that's the easy stuff. We've kind of known that the whole time. That's what we were after when we started. That's what we've been able to help families do year after year. So that's the easy part. What's not easy is, after you talk to one family, you go, hold on, how do we
Put that in the CRM.
put that in the system?
What's a CRM?
Yeah, so I
Yeah,
know
it's
how
a
to
what?
call them back.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's it. It's understanding everything else that everyone doesn't explain, all the integrations to the businesses that become the hard thing to understand. People explain a business as this one big concept, but there is so much structure to it, isn't there?
Yep, definitely. So we didn't have a franchise model to go off of, and we were growing with our mentor. And several years ago, we decided to brand ourselves as the Banking Bros and move away from his brand. So there was some separation when you called in or you went to the website or whatever, and that stuff you got to make up on the fly.
Really interesting. Really good insights, guys, there. So what does your individual roles at the Cash Compound look like day to day?
That's a great question. We spend a lot of time in the studio making great content, hopefully, for people out there who want to know what we're doing and how they can do it for their family. But no one asked that. The differences between us. So I focus more on the marketing and the social than Jonah does. So I really started out, he's got these skills and we do it together, and we like to kind of do a good cop, bad cop in our presentation stuff. We do that all the time. However, that was how I started. That was what I wanted to do. Be on stage, have somewhat of a marketing ego, do social media, get in front of the room and kind of do presentations or lunches with people. So I focus more on that side than he does in the marketing roles. And I handle more of the social media, but we have a lot of crossover. But he'll tell you about some of the things he does that I don't do. Boy, I do not touch the operations.
Yeah. So in the day-to-day aspect of the business, I'm more the operational guy. And so, right, it's fun to schedule a luncheon with a bunch of people, but then when it boils down to who's got the flight and who's taking care of the receipts and who paid, right, that comes back to the operation. So I take care of a lot of that. I do a lot of the one-on-one work with the maybe even potential people who want to work with us. Maybe it's clients who want to have you know in-depth analysis done, or introduce family members. A lot of times that'll be me. And just keeping the business running really is a lot of what I do from day to day. And if you're listening out there and you're running a business, you know how time consuming that can be. Sometimes you just, you get an email from whoever, your regulatory office. And in our case, in the States with insurance, it's the states, right? Each state is a little different. You get an email from, in our case, we live in South Carolina. So you get an email from Florida today, and you didn't realize there goes an hour of your day trying to deal with whatever in the world Florida wanted you to turn in, that you definitely turned in before, and somehow they lost it, right? And it's like, oh, here we go again.
That's really good. You basically bounce off each other.
We do, yeah. There are roles that we figured out that separate some of our responsibilities. We've also learned to delegate better to team members. We work with several support roles and support officers in these areas now. And over the course of the last year, 2025, that's really changed. So we're really becoming more efficient so we can become more effective. And most of us, most of the time, we would like to get to the place where we're not in our operations as much and we're more the face of the company helping people get started.
You work on the business and not in the business.
There you go. You know it. You know it.
I've learned all about it. It's people don't realize that you can grow and scale a business, and then you get to a point like where the business needs to grow, but you feel like it's not going to operate or run smoothly without you running it, but you need to realize you can't work on it without being on the outside of the business, not being the operator day-to-day role, which I think is a lot of people do get stuck in that trap. And especially where you want a business to go forward and you want it to work the way you want it to do, but it just stops growth, I believe.
Yeah, you got it, man. We've and in the last year, there have been a lot of changes because we've learned the skill of how to find good people and how to train them and how to operate maybe SOPs and get some operating procedures in place, put them inside the tools that we're working with electronically, and be able to work with people remote or move them toward goal actions
Yes.
rather than tasks every day. We can tell you the tasks, but that's tedious and you'll have to come back. But if we can operate in goal mindsets, end of day, end of week goal mindsets, then people can get busy and they can report back to us in a meeting structure that we never had until this last year. And they're reporting to us problems, concerns, and how to move forward. It's really changed things on an operational side so we can get back to helping free families from that financial failure they don't know they're in.
Exactly. You're working on the systems and the structure in place so you can focus on the client relationships.
That's it.
Yeah, as someone out there who's listening and thinking about starting a business or recently started a business, that's a big nugget here. That's a big piece that you should take with you, if nothing else, from this episode, which is learning how to find good people will save you a significant amount of time and energy in your business. And like you, I mean, very similar to what you said, sometimes you really feel like, well, if I'm not working in the business, it might not go as well. And the people that I've got around me aren't as qualified or don't know it as well as I know it. And that can be very detrimental to this growth and scale of your business. You've actually got to find good people. You've got to, just as good as you, if not better than you, so you can focus on what grows the business and allow them to run it. And so that's a big piece. If you're out there listening and you're just getting started, write that one down, right?
Now, I'll give 2 book recommendations on that thought for anybody out there. It's not our books. We're not authors yet, so we're not going to sell anything to you. But Who Not How by Dan Sullivan and Dr. Benjamin Hardy is a classic, but it's new. It is only about 6 years old or so, I think, and it is already a classic. Who, not how. We always want to ask how to get something done. That's a natural question. It's the natural wrong question. It's who can get this done? Who knows it better than me? Things like that. And the second book is by one of their students. His name is Dan Martell, and it's called Buy Back Your Time. And he talks about the theory of 80% done by someone else is 100% awesome. So buy back your time, find good people to help you with those systems or tasks or whatever, troubleshooting, and move on to better things yourself.
Interesting. I might have to buy those books myself, I'll be honest. I've never heard of them, but I might, I think I'm going to have to buy them myself. I'm doing a lot of reading currently, so.
Maybe they haven't made it across the pond yet. So we're now letting you know, you got to get it started over there in the UK.
We'll have it in the pond by no time, especially when we put the podcast up. I think
there you go.
There'll be some good visibility. So, guys, what trends are you noticing in your industry right now? I think one is pretty obvious.
Well, there could be a lot of different things. Trends, of course, there's AI trends, right? How in the world can we take the information that is actuarial science, guarantees growth and predictive cash flow in the future, and how can we model that into something we can see today? So Nelson Nash, the founder of the infinite banking concept, talks about the seen and the unseen. We're dealing with actuarial tables, cash value growth guaranteed to happen throughout people's life, but numbers on a page don't translate into what you want to do to grow a business, how you're going to handle your family, financing that you need to do, investment opportunities. You don't see that on paper. So AI helps those numbers become a little bit more realistic when you model them out, and not just in charts. So they're called illustrative or amortization tables if you're paying stuff back or taking loans, but it helps people model predictive cash flow in the future or for retirement or things like that. So that's one thing. And it also, with us, of course, we're reaching out to people utilizing better tools. We're reaching out to people utilizing AI, predictive science, assumptions, and things like that. So that helps us with the marketing, obviously.
Yeah, I was going to say one of the things that I've seen that's like trend in our space where we are is actually more on the personal level. I've seen a big trend in people who want more control over their finances. They're realizing that the systems that are in place in our country specifically are not really set up to see them win very well. And right now, because we live in the information age, it's almost, especially my generation, I'm a millennial, the generation right underneath me, Gen Z. Did I go the right way?
I think so.
Millennials, then Gen Z.
I'm too old to remember.
Right. They're just letters. I can't remember the order of well, I mean, I know the order of the letters, but didn't it go from Z to A? I don't know where it went. Anyway, what I've noticed is that people want more control, right? Some of the systems that have been set up in place, they've been following them, or they watched their parents or grandparents follow them, and it didn't actually work out the way that they thought it was going to work out. And so if you get to see that as a 30-year-old, 33-year-old gentleman on this podcast recording right now, if I can see my parents, my mom in her 60s, and I can see that where she's been putting, placing, keeping, storing, investing money is not panning out or working the way that she thought it would, well, now I know to do something different at 33. Does that make sense? And I think we've got an entire generation of people now, millennials and under, that are looking at the older generations going, it didn't work. It's not working. And so what that means is we are in the era right now of side hustles like crazy. Everybody's got one. Everybody's doing something on the side. Everybody's driving Uber or Lyft or delivering DoorDash, or what do you guys have over there? What's it called? You guys have DoorDash and
we got Uber Eats, we got Deliveroo.
Yeah, there you go.
Yeah, we've got all these.
Exactly.
Mhm.
It's like this side hustle thing, right? And again, there's people that do it full time, but most of the time it's to generate additional and extra income. And so a trend in our space right now is people who actually just want to do something different, but they don't know exactly what it is they want to do. They don't know. All we have is what not to do, but we don't actually know what to do. And so in our space, we've seen that time and time again, that when we've been able to talk with people or they decide to listen to a podcast, right? And we can tell them a little bit about what we do and how we offer. And we use words that we didn't make up that are written on these contracts, like guaranteed income. They're like, hold on a second. I think that's what I wanted the whole time. I thought we had to invest for when I was 65, and it's like, no, you can, of course, but you don't have to. There's other options out there. People just didn't know.
I believe there's a lot of traction around this right now, especially with it's also social media, like helping in a good way. There is bad bits about it, but in a good way, changing the way people perceive and want to chase their goals. And that's through information spread online, isn't it? Correct. So I have something to add about the whole looking up to your older generation and not seeing that's where you want to go, because I was always brought up with get a good job, get a mortgage, and then you've pretty much completed it. And I've done that, and it's not fulfilling. It's not what I want to do. It's not where I want to be. And I feel like I look at the older generation now and I go, you're all built on a lie, unfortunately. That's my personal opinion, and it's kind of upset me, but in a way, I've taken that back. I've had a look into myself and seen what I want to do, and now I've found what I wanted to do. It does take that to find out that you want to achieve those things. But yes.
Yep, I totally get it. And sometimes I feel bad. I don't mean to step on the older folks out there who are listening, right? But because they didn't know, right? They were doing they were looking to the generation above them and saying, well, it worked, so we'll do it. And now we just got a unique perspective because we're looking and we're going, no, it doesn't work all that often. It's not actually what we were looking.
There are several factors in that, of course. There's a very big business boom after the world wars in our country, for sure. And also the population is living longer, right? So the idea of pensions from those big businesses obviously have gone away. So you have to be in a very specialized place to get guaranteed lifetime income from your employer. And once the market factors took over in our country, 401k for long-term planning, and investments, but you don't control them, those things have bitten a lot of people in the butt because they're like, the flow of cash is not high enough or won't last long enough. So that's why we've got to look at alternative ideas. But actually, what we do is more traditional than alternative. So it has always worked. So let's go back to the basics.
Interesting. It's also the older generation didn't have the information that we have access to today as well.
Correct. It wasn't, it's ubiquitous information everywhere. And you got it in the palm of your hand. You got it when you wake up and go to sleep. And that's not how they lived their life. So they literally checked daily stock prices in the paper. I used to look at it. I'm old enough to remember that it was in the paper once a day, wild.
And now you can check it by opening your phone.
Real time. Yeah.
It's insane, isn't it? If we really grasp the concept of that, that is insane how we progressed. Would we say that's 20 years? I'll say that would be 20 years. 20 years, that's a very fast advancement, I think.
You got it. That's right.
You told me something the other day. You said something about, was it AI specific or was it just technology specific? It was a time frame that they're saying it shrinks.
Oh, yeah. So I'm not sure what that theory is called. Maybe you've heard of it. Some of our listeners definitely have. But every 18 months, everything doubles. Speed doubles, size compacts, or whatever. So it's that idea that the technology moves faster and can double in processing speed or gets half as big or something like that every 18 months.
It's almost like.
But now I think with AI, it moves way faster than that, which is really crazy. I think that was prior to the internet revolution. It was 18 months. So who knows now? 18 minutes? I don't know.
I believe it's going to be very fast from here on out. What we're seeing now in the tech space and the AI space is there is some new AI tool or some new advancement that's coming out every day. But I have been reading that we are almost at a peak with AI. You'll have new solutions coming out, but like it's got to a point where we might not be able to go further with AI and it will become quantum computing. That's the next step up.
Yeah.
Now we have AI, we can use AI to help out quantum computing. And this is where it gets so complex and scary. This is one field I'm looking into and I kind of enjoy because I like advancements personally, but it is also one to be worried about at the same time.
Yep. I'm with you, man. I read about it and I go, man, one day I'll understand it. But for right now, I'm gonna keep trying to help families move forward with their finances. We'll keep this on the plate for the back burner for next time.
Yes, sir. So what's working well for you guys right now and what's been frustrating?
Yeah. So you mentioned social media. Our bread and butter for the last 4 or 5 years has been social channels, several of them. We're on FB, TT, IG, YT, and LinkedIn. So they all rhyme for us. So we're on all those channels at either the Cash Compound or the Banking Bros. Just look up whichever one you like and follow us. But and after 200,000 plus followers, with a heavy concentration on TikTok, really got us thinking about moving quicker in those areas because the content was easy to produce and a lot of people were following, right? TikTok surged through the pandemic and we were there. We were at the right place, telling a right message in a way that resonated with people. So very thankful for that. But now some of those responses and consumer habits have changed. Not everybody clicks on every link now. Everyone's kind of figured out that there's lots of links to click on. Yeah. So we're being more strategic and targeted. Right now, at the end of fourth quarter 2025, we're working on a new webinar series. Very excited about that. So we've employed and contracted some folks, and webinars aren't new at all, but for us, we were doing ones and twos. Now we've got a webinar system that we're putting in place on our platform, CRM, connected to our website, all those things, so we can at least get interested parties who've seen our social media short form stuff from 1 minute to 10 minutes on YouTube. And they're joining us for an hour plus conversation on webinars strategic for their family and financial situation. Very excited about that. Even though it's not new, it's new for us. And we've been busy making money and helping families for years not doing that. So we're very excited about something that's kind of tried and true for the last 10 years, webinars.
Interesting. So you're basically branching out into all areas of marketing by the seams of things, which is exactly what you want to do. You want to see what works, what doesn't, and then double down on it. And that seems like what you're playing out now. It's very cool to see.
You've got it. Because of webinars, you've got to get better on your email campaigns, right? So you got to have people opt in. You got to have people know that it starts in an hour and all those types of things, right? We've all used them in our businesses. If we work for big companies, they use them. If we don't work for big companies, we probably joined 100 webinars. So we're doing that now. So our CRM system is tagging people better, helping us understand who we talked to last time. Like we said, we were going out at this guerrilla warfare style during the pandemic. Yes. Worked out fine for us. We made money. We learned what we needed to do and not do. But we've been implementing systems for about 2 years, and those are really changing how many people we can effectively handle at the same time. is really changed in 2 years.
That's really good. So this goes hand in hand. So what do you enjoy most about working with your clients then?
Yeah, I think one of the things that I enjoy most is actually working with the clients. So the last 30 minutes of the episode, right, we've talked a little bit about some of the other things that are really kind of tough to do in a business. And what I actually like is the reason that we started the business, right? I actually enjoy talking and helping people. I think one of the most fulfilling things that can happen in our business is watching someone accomplish one of the goals, financial goals that they set out to accomplish in the first place. That is like a really, really, really cool thing. To have someone say, hey, I really wanted to pay this off or get out of debt or go on this trip with my family. And then a year later, 6 months later, 2 years later, whatever, they're saying, I did that thing. With your help, we accomplished whatever it was. That's super fulfilling, right? Because you finally you feel like, oh, well, I was, messing with emails all yesterday and talking to the people, right? We've got some good help now, but you're still in charge of it. You still want to review it. You still want to say, do it like this, right? And it's like, oh, well, I spent the last day chatting with emails, but oh, I remember why I'm in this business in the first place. It's because we were helping you and you accomplished that thing. And that's really fulfilling, honestly. So I think that if you're in a place and in a business where you don't have that sense of fulfillment when you can help someone, that's a little bit of a tricky spot, a little bit of a rough spot to be. I don't know how long you're going to end up staying in that place, right? In that business. For me, that's one of the things that I like most. Actually talking with somebody and helping them accomplish that goal. Having a happy client, a happy customer, right, makes it all worth it.
As much as this goes back to, as much as you could start a business and run the business and make money, you're getting the best of both worlds and maybe even more from just like having that fulfillment from the client, correct?
That's exactly it.
We work with products in a world where there's never any apologies to give because we're working with whole life insurance in the US and Canada. In North America, that is a guaranteed asset that must grow in cash flow, the way we set them up custom. So there's nothing to apologize for. The longer we have a client, the longer they work with us, the better things always get. Now, hopefully their health is getting better. Hopefully their job security is good and they're able to make income. But the contracts and the conversations we help them get in place always get better. Nobody's mad at us. The longer they have it, the more they understand it, introduce other people to it, want to have more, use more, develop their system bigger, go on more vacations, pay off more debt, whatever those things are. So that is really fulfilling as well, to watch people's light bulb kind of come on and let them have aha moments to using the save and spend system. And that's what we call it.
Interesting. Okay. So this was one for the wider audience for you guys to answer. So why is financial education important?
Well, because in the world we live in, you've got to eat, Chris. Okay, that's why. So here's the thing. We live over on this side of the pond, we live in the richest country in the history of the world, more opportunities for more people. We say all those types of things, the red, white, and blue and all that type of stuff for the last 200 years. However, it doesn't matter if you don't have money. It doesn't matter. So if you live in this, sure, there are common goods and graces upon all of us. But if you don't have money, you can't go in the grocery store with all the options. So you need cash. You need to understand credit. You need to understand debt and how to leverage and how to use it or not get into consumer patterns. So that's why it's important. Financial education is not something traditionally taught in schools. It's been left to the families, which is a good thing. The problem is the families don't teach it. The families don't get it. The families don't understand. So we think the family is the core unit of our country. And so we want to help those families, but it's not something you learned at a third-party school most of the time. So we have to have those conversations. That's why it's important. If you run out, you eat dog food. So come on, Chris, you know the answer.
Do you think in the near future that schools will be financially educating children through schools?
I do think so. We're working into a new era of everything because of technology, because of people's debt problems, because of our country's debt problems actually as well. So yes, there are going to be some returns to that because our parents and grandparents' generation did have practical apprenticeship type programs. They talked about consumer math a lot more 30, 40 years ago. They talked about wood shop and home ec and all those types of things. So I think there's going to be a remerging of that. There's a lot more people like us and other groups that are partnering with schools, districts, and alternative programs to like teach some sort of curriculum. So yeah, there's going to be some for sure.
I think that'll be very helpful for people that are missing that financial education. I'm one of these people that I didn't have a great upbringing and I didn't get the financial education. It's taken me since the age of 17, so probably about 15 years to properly financially educate myself because I had no help through it. But that learning curve has been like an emotional roller coaster throughout the whole journey. And there's still things that I'm only learning out today. Like for example, is that I didn't realize I can use the equity in my home. And
There you go. And yeah, something
exactly.
with it.
And
Yeah.
that's financial education. That's learning about handling your finances. So this is why I think it should be pressed on a little bit more for people to want to financially educate themselves as well.
Yeah, there are a lot of people who are realizing, like Jonah said, the generations that have come after us, we're both millennials. I'm at one end, he's at the other, that are realizing that the path to financial security or wealth building is probably not in a traditional job and a white collar situation. And you may have to go into debt 5 figures or 6 figures to get there with traditional schooling plans for secondary education, right? University education. So that's not cool. Or how in the world Mr. Beast makes all this money on YouTube? I want to do that instead. So, yes, you're exactly right. The idea behind these areas, they're areas in terms of educational expenses, consumer expenses, houses, cars, Netflix, investments, taxes, all of these things. It's like, wow, these things run my life in a good way or a bad way, but that's not what I remember them talking about in school. I remember something about the Pythagorean theorem and 3.14. Like, what were we talking about? Because that's what I remember, 30 days hath September, but that ain't helping me. I'm broke.
No, 100%. That's all I remember learning is numbers. But numbers is good at the end of the day, but it's not some of the financial education that we probably need going through life. So looking ahead, what excites you about the future of the cash compound?
Yeah, I think one of the biggest things that excites me is to actually in order to look ahead, answer your question, looking ahead, what's one of the things that most excites me? I think in order to do that effectively, you've got to look behind you, right? And look at how far you've been able to come. So one of the things that I like most is where we are now and the trajectory of where we are headed. Does that make sense? I think looking into the future, you can always have lofty goals. Well, we want to accomplish this. We want to earn X. We want to help this many families, whatever it might be for you and your business. And we have those goals too, that we want to do all these things. But I think you've got to take a step back and just look at where you started from to figure out, you know what, we've done and accomplished a lot up to this point, which is amazing, which means if we continue on the path and continue getting better, we'll continue to accomplish, right? And I think that's most exciting. I don't personally like to put some big shiny object in front of me that I'm running for. I would rather say consistent daily activities, everyday work is accomplishing the goal that I set out to accomplish. And so that drives the fulfillment, as opposed to, you know what, a 7 or 8 figure year or lifetime would be amazing. It's like, well, what happens if you miss it? Did you fail? Was your last 10 years or 20 years of business a failure? In my opinion, I don't like it very much. I'd rather say the things that I do daily are the things that bring fulfillment, the things that are putting me on the right path, and therefore we are moving the right direction.
Interesting. That's about showing up daily and executing.
Yep.
Very, very,
now, that reminds me of a book out there, The Gap and the Gain. Same authors. So Dr. Benjamin Hardy and Dan Sullivan, The Gap and the Gain. So we have a tendency to see the gap between here and the horizon, where we want to go. But the horizon isn't something you ever get to. The horizon is always the horizon. So you have to also look back to see how far you've come or progressed, even at the end of each workday. So that can be helpful for all of us and entrepreneurship.
I might have to read that book myself then.
There you go. You got 3 books now.
I've
Chris.
got 3 books to read. I've got a lot of reading to catch up on top of everything else. Gaining insights from books and the wisdom that's shared through us out the lifetime is vast. So I feel like a lot of people forget that you can gain a lot of wisdom and knowledge through books and reading.
Yeah. Well, that's because we all avoided them in school. We all avoided the books. And now I've read more books outside of school. I was in school 20 years. I'm out of school 20 years. And I have read 10 times the books since I've left school. In school, I was trying to keep myself from reading.
I think when you're younger, I don't feel like we have that mindset to want to read. We're trying to still figure out the world as well. So when it's pressed on us to read more, we're not that interested. But as you get older, you realize there's a lot of wisdom and knowledge in books. So it makes
Yeah.
you want to read more. I think at the age of 30, when I turned 30, that's what made me want to read and learn more.
You got it. Well, at 15, my body didn't hurt after the end of a soccer match. So I didn't want to read. Now I'm like, ooh, I'm going to hurt real bad if I go play. So maybe I'll just read. Yeah.
As we come to wrap up the podcast then, so this is a good question to share with our audience. So what's the biggest lessons you have both learned in your journey that has helped you become who you both are today?
Choosing the right team and choosing the right path can make all the difference. So I'm a big fan of the 80-20 principle, and I just paragraphed and pirated something off Richard Koch, the author of that and the founder of that principle, the 80-20 principle, or the Pareto principle, which sometimes is referred to as the 90-10. And choosing the right game to play in the first place can make all the difference. See, now that we have children, there is a second generation in our households that are learning the steps to take and to continue for guaranteed lifetime income, for cash flow, no matter what happens. They don't need to be as smart. We picked the right thing. So they don't have to learn everything. They don't have to start from scratch. We're building something that can be passed, left on, knowledge that can be transferred. And the good book says that a rich man will leave an inheritance for his children's children. So one of the things, oddly enough, is spend some time, maybe as long as the time you need, to figure out the right game to play in the first place and the people to team up with. So you don't have to bounce from thing to thing to thing and never get any traction or leverage.
Yeah, I think one of the biggest things for me is just taking ownership. Taking ownership over your life and over your decisions. I think for a long time in there, coming up, late teens, early 20s, it was just like, whatever. I'll just do whatever. I'll just be whoever. Just whatever. But I think as I gotten older too, right? And it could have been turning 30, like you said. It could have been having a daughter who was really helpful. But I think it was just take ownership. Listen, your life is going to continue as long as it does. As long as you're alive, it's continuing, right? And the things that you do day to day are the things that you decide that you'd like to do. And so therefore, take ownership of it. Make the decision that you want to be this person or you want to accomplish this thing, and then go do it. No one's holding you back. The Netflix show is not that good. Get up and go do it.
I really like those lessons, guys. They're very good insights. Thank you very much for those. Do you guys have any questions going forward from here, or would you like to wrap up?
Let me ask you some of the same things you posed to us. Okay, so here's a question. Over the course of your business career, now that you've got this new podcast, we're so happy to be one of the first guests on your podcast. Okay, we've gotten taught this question through our coach. We've got a coach in the last couple of years. Great dude. I've known him since school, and he's posed this to us a few times. So over the course of the next 3 years, here's the question, Chris. We got 3 years. Let's say you get busy, you blow things up, we blow things up, we go make messes, we go have successes. But 3 years from now, we come back and we see each other, maybe for another reunion episode on this podcast. That'd be great. And we ask you, Chris, how are things going? And you say, the Banking Bros, I tell you, fellas, it's great. It's the best ever. Everything's working out. I'm telling you, I'm living a wonderful life and business is good. And we go, perfect, great, wonderful. We don't even want to be your friend if it was terrible. So glad you said yes. And glad you said good. What happened? What happened in the last 3 years? What has to happen in the next 3 years for you to be like, everything is on track, going the way it should?
I have to get up, execute, and be consistent. I think that's what's drilled into my mindset personally. And for me to go forward, that's what I have to execute on, is to be
All right,
consistent.
now, it's easy to say, right? But a problem well stated and well thought out is half done, or whatever thing I'm butchering and plagiarizing there. But it's 1,000 days of execution. So we have to do the same thing, right? In lives and business and health and family. But we wish you that success as well for the next 1,000 days.
Thank you very much. I wish you guys that success for the next 1,000 days. And I think we should maybe even book that next call in 1,000 days time, because that is something to look forward to in 1,000 days' time.
Love
Yep.
it. We're ready. We'll be back. Maybe won't be in this room. Maybe he'll be fatter and I'll be
No
stronger,
way. No way.
but we'll be here.
Maybe the podcast will be even in person.
There we go. Love it. Hey, we're coming to you. We've been in the US long enough. We'll come see you, man. Looking forward to that trip.
Have you guys ever been to the UK?
Yeah, we have, and I've been to London town right there, close enough to get my Cockney accent for just a couple of days. And I really enjoyed London. So, yeah, but other places in Europe for sure. We've been all over.
Well, that's all we have time for today. I'd like to say a big thank you to the Banking Bros for joining me. And if you want to find more about them, I will leave a link in the description below.